Today on the list, the Marines who made history. Visit with the cast of a new rom-com and how to make your workout more effective.
That's the beauty. You can target 2 muscle groups in one exercise at the same time.
Plus,
it's a car lover's dream, right?
a look at luxury race cars and souped-up speedsters.
How fast is it?
On our particular track, it's going to go close to 190 miles an hour down our straightaway. Yes.
But up first, what science tells us about happiness. It's your life, it's your list, and it starts right now.
Hey guys, I'm Christina Guerrero.
And I'm Jimmy Rhodes. And for over 8 decades, scientists have been studying the same individuals and their families in the effort to answer one very important question.
That's right. What's the key to being really, truly, genuinely happy?
They recently published their findings and their conclusions about what makes a good life. And that's our featured story at the top of the list. The secret to unlocking the good life does exist, and the world's longest scientific study of happiness might just hold the key.
One of the neat things when you study a group of people this large, over 700 people across 85 years of their life, is you begin to see some patterns in what may lead some people to thrive and do well and some people to struggle in their lives.
Dr. Mark Schultz is the Associate Director of the Harvard Study of Adult Development.
It's a remarkable study that began in the 1930s, and it followed initially 724 individuals from very different walks of life. So almost 2/3 of the sample were inner city kids growing up in some of Boston's poorest neighborhoods. Most of them were children of immigrants. And then just literally down the block across another part of Boston were students at Harvard University. That was about 1/3 of the sample that were facing a very different set of prospects in life.
Over the decades, the study has changed hands while following the lives of the original 724 participants, as well as the more than 1,300 of their wives and children. Their findings were compiled in a new book, The Good Life, and Dr. Schultz says that when it comes to what signals happiness and what we can learn from the study, one thing has stood out among the rest.
That signal was the importance of relationships.
Those relationships not only affected their happiness,
but also their physical well-being as well. So their physical health and even how long they lived.
That's because the feeling that no one cares about you can be physically debilitating.
The health risks associated with loneliness are on the same level as smoking half a pack of cigarettes and as obesity. And what makes it particularly important is, like obesity, sadly, loneliness is quite prevalent. About 20 to 40% of adults are likely to experience loneliness.
Now let's look at the types of relationships that really matter.
These are relationships early in life, relationships that people have throughout periods of their adult life, their friendships, their close partners.
And if you're wondering if you have to have a significant other,
and a partner's great, that can be a wonderful thing. It can also be a challenging thing for some people. But relationships of all kinds provide connections that are important to keep us thriving.
Which means we need to be working on social fitness.
We need to pay attention to our social connections and our bonds with others in ways that we think more about attending to our physical fitness.
So foster connections with people you can count on.
One of the questions we asked participants was, in the middle of the night, if you're hurt or scared, are there people you could call?
And when it comes to quantity versus quality,
there are a lot of studies that show more connections have some benefits, but probably the biggest jump is at the beginning. So if you go from having 0 or almost no one that you can count on to having 1 or 2 or 3 people, that's a huge advantage in terms of the kinds of benefits you could reap from connections.
Learning how to live the good life is at the top of the list.
Go to the gym and you'll find all kinds of machines and equipment designed to target a specific part of your body. So how do you know you're not neglecting something important? Well, we are looking at the muscles you might be missing and how to get them back in the game.
We all want to get stronger at the gym, but there are certain muscles that just might be getting all the attention.
Glutes, biceps, abs. I mean, I think that's what I'm always thinking.
But there are other muscles that are also important that may be getting neglected. So we met up with Delaney Wood, fitness trainer at the Self-Made Training Facility in Phoenix, Arizona, for 3 examples, along with moves that'll target them.
Training every muscle group is very important because if you overtrain a muscle and you end up just totally neglecting another, that's where muscular imbalances can happen. You can get injured in different ways.
We begin with the adductors, located in the inner thighs.
If you're walking, you're running upstairs, to really help stabilize your hips, stabilize your legs, your adductors do need to be trained.
Glute bridges with a ball squeeze will strengthen not only the adductors, but also the glutes.
On your way up, you're targeting your glutes while you're holding static tension on your adductors. So that's why when you squeeze it, you feel it burn. That's the beauty. You can target 2 muscle groups in one exercise at the same time.
This is killing my adductors.
Next up, we focus on the rhomboids located at the center of your upper back.
If you don't train that, for example, it can lack your posture. I just stood up a little bit straighter after you said that.
For this move, we sit backwards on a bench
So you want to walk yourself up enough where your shoulders are mobile.
and focus on the right posture.
I'm gonna push my shoulders down and then think about pinching a penny in your back. Then I'm automatically here.
Position the dumbbells diagonally in front and raise them, creating a Y shape.
So the idea is you're gonna feel it starting from your shoulder down your rear delt and then right into that rhomboid.
Is the rhomboiding?
We wrap up with an arm workout that'll focus on the forearms.
We often forget about our forearms. We're like, our biceps look good, but forearms.
Yes, so important. Even as something as simple as if you're just at home and you try to open up a pickle jar, you're trying to really squeeze and provide force and you can't open it.
That strength comes from the forearms, and wrist curls will help target that area for a stronger grip.
I recommend using a lightweight dumbbell to start. You're gonna relax, breathe in, breathe out as you curl. And the goal is to see progress in all of your pulling movements.
I love it. So people are gonna be like, whoa, you got some good forearms.
Building a workout routine where no muscle gets left behind.
There you go, just like that.
The Barrett-Jackson Car Show in Scottsdale, Arizona is one of the country's most prestigious automotive collectors auctions, with vehicles old and new competing for the hearts and the money of auto lovers. The annual event just wrapped up, and Hattie D. Jamal is looking at what has car enthusiasts revved up this year.
Cars, cars, and more cars. The nationally renowned car show Barrett-Jackson annually draws thousands of spectators in Arizona and is now headed to Florida and Las Vegas.
Great thing about Barrett-Jackson is obviously it's a car lover's dream, right?
Jason Plotke, president of Apex Motor Club in Maricopa, Arizona, has showcased and sold cars at the event for years.
It invites over 300,000 people in a week. It's automotive overdose.
He says in his experience, speed draws all the attention. And there are 3 types of cars that truly fit the bill. So Jason is gonna school us on the specs of these dream cars. For one, the souped up street car, Lexus RCF.
Which is their sports coupe. It's a 500 horsepower, paddle shift, track focused, driving experience. We can put anybody in them, from a novice to an expert.
It can go from 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. And he says the most affordable when it comes to this caliber of speedsters.
So when we talk about price range on that car, what are we looking at roughly?
It's gonna be $70,000 to $90,000 range. The value is unmatched in my opinion.
Racing into second place is the track-only race car, the Radical. This car can hit speeds as high as 120. However, can only be driven on a racetrack.
They look fast just sitting still. It's the only production race car in the world, which is hard to believe, but it is, and they are one of the best, fastest cars you can drive for the money.
This car carries a hefty price tag, about $100,000 to start. Okay, so not that affordable for the average person, but we can dream. Another feature, anyone can drive it.
Great for novices, and they're incredible for experts, and it's one of the best race cars you can buy that will accomplish almost everything you want to do with it.
It's safe to say that this car speaks for itself.
And it did.
Yeah, can I keep this?
You can keep it.
I was talking about the car.
Finally, he says it's perhaps the most recognizable, the epitome of high-end. It's the luxury race car, a Lamborghini.
Right behind us we have what's called a Lamborghini Super Trofeo. It's the car that you probably see at all the nightclubs and restaurants on a Friday night turned into a race car.
It's the most recognizable and one of the most expensive dream cars out there, He says it'll cost you right about $300,000, and it takes fast to a whole new level.
All right, well, I gotta ask Jason, how fast is it?
On our particular track, it's going to go close to 190 miles an hour down our straightaway. Yes.
If you aren't in the market to bring one of these speedsters home, research some companies in your area that may offer luxury rentals. Furiously living life in the fast lane.
Still to come on the list, how a group of Marines changed the military.
A few brave African-American men changed the face of the United States Marine Corps forever.
And learn how to play the guitar through TikTok.
We learned those by learning Every Good Boy Does Fine. EGBDF.
Plus,
Allison is just so talented across the board in every facet.
the new film from Dave Franco and Allison Brie.
We were really inspired by what we consider the classics from our youth in the 80s and 90s.
All that and more ahead on the list.
Hey guys, welcome back. As we celebrate Black History Month, today we are focusing on a story about some of our bravest veterans.
The U.S. Marine Corps was the last branch of the military to desegregate. And a new documentary is chronicling the journey of the first African-American Marines from training to World War II and beyond.
That's right, we sat down with one of the gunnery sergeants to learn about the Montford Point Marines.
From 1942 to 1949, a few brave African-American men changed the face of the United States Marine Corps forever.
Named after their first camp, the Montford Point Marines were trailblazers.
Starting on 1 June 1942, blacks were finally allowed to sign up to be recruited for the Marine Corps.
Retired Master Gunnery Sergeant Joe Geter of the U.S. Marine Corps shares the valuable history of our first African-American Marines, starting with the training.
Montford Point Camp was a segregated camp. We felt indignity that was thrown at us.
The first recruits started from scratch after they were dropped off at a rundown camp.
It had dilapidated buildings, it had no running water, absolutely no electricity. So those first recruits that arrived in 1942 literally had to build their own camp.
They faced tough training and abuse from some white Marines. But when black drill instructors came the next year, the drills got even more intense.
Because these men realized that if these folks did not make it through the Marine Corps, it will reflect on everybody.
The training paid off. Montford Point proved to be a success.
During the World War II years, right around 18,500, 19,000 went through. And of that number, about 12,000 went overseas to serve in the Pacific.
Montford Point Marines served in some of the bloodiest struggles in the Pacific.
While they were initially only used for backups and replacements, these Marines proved themselves in combat.
And in Peleliu, the Marines were actually being overrun. And it was the black Marines that came up and brought their wounded back and brought ammo and supplies up to the front. Some of these white Marines called the black Marines the Black Angels.
Gunnery Sergeant Geter says their performance in World War II cemented their legacy of loyalty and courage.
They laid down a history on how to conduct yourself under difficult circumstances.
Today, the House of Representatives will pass a resolution giving these Marines their long overdue recognition.
In 2011, Congress unanimously passed a bill honoring the Montford Point Marines with a Congressional Gold Medal.
And we identified over 400 living original Montford Pointers that were able to travel to D.C. on June 27, 2012, where we received collectively the Congressional Gold Medal at Emancipation Hall in the U.S. Capitol.
We accept this on behalf of an incredibly grateful nation.
But the work isn't done.
So for the past 10 years, the Montford Point Marine Association has been seeking out these families. To date, we have awarded only approximately 3,000 medals.
If you know a black Marine who served in World War II, please contact MontfordPointMarines.org. You can learn more by watching ABC's docuseries titled Our America, Mission Montford Point. Check local listings for details. Rising above racism and bravely serving, we salute our first black Marines.
If you've ever thought about learning to play a musical instrument, but you're not sure how to get started, well, maybe give TikTok a try. Teresa Strasser has some TikTokers to follow who can help teach you how to play. Teresa.
Thank you. With more than 8.7 million likes combined, these three TikTok music teachers are giving us all a free lesson in how it is done. Coming in at number 1, Baby Austin 95. Austin Gannon is taking his drumming skills and breaking it down. for students from beginners all the way to expert mode. You may think that that looks easy, but it is way harder than it looks. At number 2, Dan G. Simmons.
It stays on the A minor. 2, 3.
Dan is taking his love for music and teaching everyone on TikTok how to master the piano.
So the trick is you start with your thumb, index, middle, and then slide your thumb over for the 4th note of that scale, or the F. And then the rest of your fingers should fall in place for the rest of the scale.
His tips are so easy a beginner could easily follow along. He also teaches us how to harmonize.
See if you can find chords that have the note of the scale in it. Could be A minor, G over B.
I might be tone deaf, but I still appreciate this guy's teaching skills. And last on our list of social media accounts teaching you instruments, Guitar 9000, Roger Tomlin. This rad music teacher is not only shredding on the guitar, but he is teaching everyone on the internet how to do it too.
It's awesome, it's easy, do it!
With a teacher like that, who knows, it just might be.
We learned those by learning every good boy does fine. From the bottom, E, G, B, D, F.
And those were a few TikTok accounts teaching you how to play an instrument. More to come on the list. Stay with us.
We're back, and today on the watch list, talk about a romantic comedy with a twist. The new movie Somebody I Used to Know has a director and star who are married in real life. We talked to Allison Brie and Dave Franco, along with some of the other stars of the film, about the experience.
Allie?
Sean! Oh my God!
The new movie Somebody I Used to Know is about a woman who runs into her ex, but just as she thinks their romance is rekindling, it's revealed he's engaged.
To Sean and Cassidy.
We spoke with the cast and director to learn more.
Don't get me started.
The film is a coming-of-age story that mixes romance, comedy, and drama.
Romedy.
Like a dramedy.
Drum with comedy.
Yeah.
Romedy.
There she is.
We really set out to make a romantic comedy. We were really inspired by what we consider the classics from our youth in the 80s and 90s. Your When Harry Met Sally, My Best Friend's Wedding.
Marry Me.
When people ask me about it now, I am sort of like, it's a rom-com with a heavy dose of dram.
I need to see this through, whatever it is.
You mean like with you and the groom?
I mean, we can just call him Sean.
Dave Franco directed the movie and wrote it with his wife, Allison Brie. Your co-star is the co-writer who is also married to the director. What was the onset experience in that regard?
The way you said it makes me hate it. Yeah. Hi, you're still here. It was almost like, sorry Dave, having two directors in a sense. Sure.
You know, like being able to bounce off of you, knowing where you're going with it and how you imagined it when you wrote it. And Dave is Dave. I love Dave.
She actually reminds me a lot of me at that age.
Finally, there's a lot you can learn from it.
We just want people to talk. We want people to communicate. We want people to be themselves.
Like if these characters were a little bit better at communicating, things might not have gone as far.
Allie, this has gone way too far.
I don't know what to do anymore.
Think about who you used to be compared to who you are now and reflect on if you're happy about who you are now. I think if the answer to that question is no, like it's not too late to pivot and get back on a path that will make you happy.
I still think about what would have happened if you hadn't left all those years ago.
To see more of our interview with the cast and director, check out the guest list on our YouTube channel, The List Show TV.
I hope that people,
They break up.
No.
They want everybody to break up.
We're putting Somebody I Used to Know on your watch list. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's time for What's Last on Our List. And KG, picking out baby names is hard. My daughter Lucy, she likes her name just fine, but my son Frank once told me
that he might start going by his middle name, Wyatt. He doesn't like the name Frank, and it made me feel like I saddled him with a bad name.
Okay, well, first of all, Frank is a great name.
Thank you.
And second, this pressure parents put on themselves is new, right? Because back in the day, like my grandma, who didn't speak any English, named my sister after a soap opera character. Done.
Okay, well, here's a new wrinkle. It's not just about the well-being of your child, but the survival of the name itself. From babycenter.com. Baby names at risk of extinction in 2023.
Ooh, Barbara, maybe that one's on the list, or Norma, right? When was the last time you heard someone cool with a baby Norma?
Well, surprisingly, neither of those made the list. Here are some endangered girls' names, though. Kate.
Which is a beautiful name.
Tegan.
Oh, like Chrissy Teigen, which we've been pronouncing wrong this whole time, so yeah, that would get frustrating.
Okay, and how about Leah?
It's a trap.
My thoughts exactly.
All right, from the list of endangered boys' names, Walter.
My dad's middle name.
Walter. Seth.
Okay, I blame Seth Rogen's aggregate Rotten Tomato score for that one.
Jimmy, that's not nice. And Rory, a name I love.
Well, Rory is the name of the Detroit Lions mascots. That one's going to totally bounce back when the Lions win the Super Bowl in 2024.
You can make anything about the Detroit Lions. Also, have they ever even played in a Super Bowl?
No comment. Folks, that's what's last on our list. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Tomorrow on the list, we're going to be kind.
I believe kindness is humanity's greatest asset.
To our neighbors.
Letting them know that they matter and that they make a positive difference in your life.
To our partners.
Show your spouse that they're loved, that they're cherished.
And to everyone else.
There's an amazing, incredible impact that kindness can have on all dimensions of health.
Be kind tomorrow on the list.